Giving you pretty much the secret sauce right here, if you ask me. But here's one of the most important aspects of forging a resilient mindset. Hello and welcome to the Command Podcast, where our mission is to help you, the busy, hardworking human beings who build and maintain this country and this world's society and infrastructure, to help you take command of your mind, your body, and your future, to create a powerful, effective individual who has a desire to immerse themselves in greatness, so that together we can unify and assume command of our environments, our communities, and our country to do our part in preserving freedom. Join me on this mission of becoming the next generation of leaders to make living with integrity badass again. I'm your host, Trent Niebersol, and now it is time to take command. This is the Command Podcast number 50, and I thought I'd give it a little fresh introduction there and add who I'm actually trying to talk to here. The humans, the men and women who are actually out there building society, being contributors to society, who are out there working their asses off day in and day out to support themselves, their families, to try and make better lives for themselves in the future. So there's a lot of us out there doing that, but this podcast and this movement at the Command Project is really about giving back to those people who are actually building society, the ones who are, blue collar workers working their butts off, building things, maintaining the infrastructure, paying half of the taxes, half of their money in taxes. Those people, I want to give back to those people and help build them up. That's what that podcast a few shows ago was really about, talking about who I'm really talking to. So I wanted to add that in there. And also, it fits because this is episode number 50. So I wanted to go out with a bang for episode number 50. And today I want to talk about mindset, taking command of your mind. This is one of the core fundamentals of the Command Project. And it's one of the most important things when it comes to taking command of your life. So let's go and start from the top. I don't have any notes today. I'm just freaking going off the whim here, but I have all this stuff stored in my brain, so it should go over just fine, but bear with me. So taking command of your mind is the most important thing when it comes to taking command of your life, because your mind is the operating system to your life. Your mind is what will make or break you. It is what will allow you to take the actions and do the things necessary to move yourself forward in your life, or it is the thing that will keep you from doing those things. So taking command of your mind and taking command of your body go hand in hand. A couple podcasts ago, I talked about, basically taking command of your body with a busy schedule, how to take command of your health and fitness with a busy schedule. Well, another big part of that, I gave you some good tips and tactics on how to do that, actual actionable steps, but you also got to take command of your mind in order to do that effectively, because if you don't have control over the operating system that's driving, basically the engine that's driving everything in your life, making the decisions, deciding to go or not to go, then you're not going to go when it's time to go, to do the things that move you forward and get better. But as you're taking command of your body and you're taking command of your mind, they both intertwine, because the things that are necessary to get in shape, be healthy, eating healthy, exercising, pushing yourself, well, those things also overlap with taking command of your mind. And then as you keep taking command of your body, you start gaining control over your mind. But also the way you gain control over your mind goes hand in hand with, exercising and doing the hard things. So that's why I wanted to really hammer this one home today, so that you guys can start stacking these things up and you can start getting some real good wins for yourself. So what is the foundational, where do you start when you're taking command of your mind? Where's like the start point? And yeah, I'm a little sweaty. I just did a bunch of hill sprints and it's a little hot. Had to turn the AC off because it's kind of loud. So that's why I might be rubbing my face a little bit today. But the first step to taking command of your mind is self-awareness. And really that's the first step with making a change in anything in your life. It's becoming aware of yourself, where you're at and where you want to go, and that gap in the middle, and how what you need to do to fill that gap. So when it comes to gaining self-awareness over your mind, over your mindset, it starts with your thoughts. What are you thinking about on a consistent basis? On average, human beings have about 70,000 thoughts per day. And I think it's 80 or 90% of those thoughts are the same exact thoughts as you had yesterday, the day before. So you all know what habits are. And, I've touched on habits in the past. I might touch on habits in this one as well, because that's part of your mindset. But think about that. If you're having on average 70,000 thoughts per day, those are conscious and subconscious thoughts. Think about how you could make habits out of thought loops. And now think about how most people think negatively the majority of the time. So think about how you could get stuck in a negative thought habit loop. And then, maybe I'll touch on habits just briefly towards the end of this show, or, here in a few minutes. But basically habits wire and rewire, and it's called a habit loop. So if you're having negative thoughts, and let's say 50,000 of those 70,000 are negative thoughts and feelings and emotions about yourself because of things that have happened in your past, things that you failed at in life, promises that you've broken to yourself in your life, then think about how that can wire a super negative, feeling and self-image within yourself. So that's step number one, becoming aware. And now in my program, Take Command of Your Mind, Body, and Future, I give you worksheets to really dig deep into your thought processes in your mind so that you can start thinking about what you think about. But try doing that tomorrow. Sit there, while you're at work, while you're driving, and just think about what you think about. A lot of people don't do that. And it's crazy because, we're just thinking all day, every day. So I challenge you to do that tomorrow, to start gaining that self-awareness on yourself. What am I thinking about? Start thinking about what you think about. So once you do that, you want to start, basically getting rid of the negative thoughts, especially negative self-talk and negative talk to yourself. Like, I'm not good enough. I don't have it in me. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Because what is it? I think when you actually tell yourself, and it could be in your head or out loud, and I can't remember these numbers exactly, but when you just have a negative thought compared to when you actually tell yourself something like, I'm not, maybe I'm just not worthy of this. Maybe I'm not good enough to lose the weight. Maybe I just don't have it in me to wake up and get my workout in. Maybe I just don't have it in me to say no to the donuts in the break room, or, the fast food for lunchtime. When you do those, it has a 10 times more of a negative effect on your mind and your, belief in yourself than just having a negative thought, period. So you really need to start tackling first the negative self-talk, like, I'm not good enough, maybe I don't have it in me, those kinds of things. I want you to start, come up with like a little trigger, like, first you have to start becoming aware, because you're not even, most people, I bet if you're listening to this, unless you're big into personal growth, you're probably not even aware of those things. It just happens subconsciously. And you just think that's the norm, to like call yourself an idiot all the time, call yourself stupid, tell yourself you're not good enough. It's normal. Most people do it. The majority of people do it. You really have to work on this, because as humans, we have our reptilian brain. It's basically our, it's wired for survival. So as humans, we always look for what's wrong because we're trying to survive. But now in today's day and age, most of our survival is taken care of as long as you go to work and you have, you could pay for a house, which protects you from the elements. You're not going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger at night. Your food's taken care of as long as you have money to go to the grocery store, stuff like that. We have law enforcement, which, you better know how to shoot yourself, because, it might be too late by the time they get there. But, we're still wired to look for, for survival. So we look for what's wrong before what's right. So you have to start rewiring your mind and come up with a trigger, like, pinch your finger or something when you have a negative thought. And just think about that thought. Think, is that actually true? And if it's not true, which 99% of the time it's not true in the way that you're thinking about it, maybe it's something that you need to work on in your life, be honest with yourself. But it's probably not true in the way you're saying it, like, I'm not good enough, or I just don't have it in me, or something like that. Take that thought, and literally, this is what I do. I don't know if you guys see me ever post throw your excuses in the trash. But when I started doing this years ago, like, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would literally say, throw your excuses or throw those negative thoughts in the trash. And I would act like I pulled it out of my brain and I'd throw it in the trash. There's other people like Ed Milet. He's a very successful entrepreneur, businessman, and podcaster. He talks about how it's like a disc for him, like a CD, and he scratches it and he says, scratch it. So he like scratches it off of that CD or that hard drive, whatever. But for me, I've always like pulled it out of my head. And this works. Like, it really does work, because doing something physical, feelings and emotions get stored in your body. So it's not only about your mind, it's about working on your body with your feelings and emotions too, because having these thoughts over and over and over will create a feeling in your body, which creates emotions that are tied to those thoughts. And that's what really wires those habits in, because now it's not only happening in your brain, in your mind, but it's now wired into your body. So you literally have to physically pull that thought out of your head, throw it in the trash. Just start doing that tomorrow. I challenge you to do that. And send me a message and tell me if you start doing this tomorrow and you start gaining awareness on like the negative thoughts you're having throughout the day that are not serving you. Think, is this thought serving me? Is it even true? Now say, all right, pull it out, throw it in the trash, and then think about what the truth is around that thought. So like, you skip your workout and say, I suck. I'm never going to get in shape. I'm just, I'm meant to be fat, I guess. I'm just a loser. Think about that. Take it out, throw it in the trash. That's not true. You did something. That is not who you are. But you have to change who you are to start rewiring your mind. You can't just keep doing the same things and just think positive thoughts and your life will change. It will help you start taking the right actions, but you have to also take the right actions on top of that. But that thought is not serving you. It is going to push you further down into the ditch. It's going to keep digging your grave. So take that thought out, throw it in the trash, go do what you need to do. That is how you're going to start taking command of your mind. So first off, self-awareness. That's what I just went over. Start doing that tomorrow. Next is you have to go to war with the inner critic. The inner critic is your mind. It's your brain always telling you not to do something. It's always telling you to seek comfort, vices, cheap dopamine, telling you to get the junk food, telling you to skip your workout, telling you to hit the snooze button, sleep in and skip your workout. It's always the one saying things like, I can't, I'm not, or I don't. That's its three favorite phrases, because it starts with those phrases and then it is followed by some kind of negative self-talk. I can't do it. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I don't have enough money. I'm broke, whatever. So look out for those three phases. I can't, I'm not, and I don't. And whatever follows is usually negative self-talk coming from the inner critic. Some people might call it the inner bitch. I call it the inner critic. So it's almost like there's two voices in your head. And I promise I'm not a psychopath. But there's two voices in your head. Some people call it God and the devil. And I think there's actually a book, I think it's by Dale Carnegie, actually. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And it's really good. I never really thought of it this way until I read that book. I've always just thought of it as my intuition in the inner critic. My true self in the inner critic. But some people think of it as God and some people think of it as the devil. So, if that's what you want to think of it as, I think that's cool too. It's kind of cool to think of it that way as well. But because then it kind of it makes you think like there's a higher power that wants me to do better for myself rather than it just being you and up to your decisions. But I believe very strongly that our lives are made by our decisions, and I kind of like holding that power within myself. That means whatever happens to me is because of me, and my decisions will create my life. But anyways, so your inner critic, you have to go to war with it. So first step is becoming aware of your thoughts and start thinking about what you think about, throwing those negative thoughts in the trash. Next is going to war with the inner critic to throw your excuses in the trash. The inner critic is going to always come up with very clever excuses, and it's going to negotiate you out of a better future. It is going to negotiate you out of your goals that you have set for yourself and into a worse situation, because if you're not improving, you're disimproving. There's not really any staying in the middle. You're getting older. If you're not moving forward and growing and getting better, then you're slowly deteriorating, in my opinion. So The inner critic is going to try and keep you right where you're at or move you backwards, but you have to go to war with that voice. And how you do that is, first of all, just like your thoughts, you have to become aware of that voice. And then you have to start doing the opposite of what it says. So that's why it helps to have a coach, because they give you a workout program, they hold you accountable, they give you, a nutrition plan, whether it's a meal plan or just, guidelines to follow or tracking your macros. It's good because then you have somebody that gives you a specific list of tasks that you need to complete, and they're going to hold you accountable to that list. And if not, then they're going to, tell you that you need it. They're going to pull you back onto the path. But you need to start doing the things that are going to move you forward to get yourself to your goals. So if you don't have goals, you need to set goals. And now your inner critic is going to come in, and it is going to try and keep you from taking the actions necessary to achieving those goals. So how do you go to war with that inner critic? You do the things anyways, regardless of how you feel in the moment. And over time, this takes some time for sure. By becoming aware of that voice, and then doing the opposite, kind of like just now. I got home, I was tired, I didn't want to do it. I went out, I did not want to do hill sprints, I did not want to work out because I've been up since like 3, and worked a full day. But you know what? I went out and did it anyways, and I went to war with the inner critic, and you know what? After 1 or 2 sets of hill sprints, I felt much better. And now what that does is it shuts the inner critic down because you just proved it wrong. And now your intuition starts coming out, and you start proving to yourself that, you know what? I can do things when I'm tired. I can do things when I don't want to. When that voice is in my head saying, you've had a long day, take a break. You're tired. You should just take it easy. You worked hard today. Just go sit on the couch. You deserve it. You deserve to sit on the couch, drink beer, eat ice cream, and be a fat fuck. That's like the type of things that voice will say to you. But just go do the opposite of what it says to go and move yourself forward. It will start quieting down over time, and your intuition will start getting louder. And you have to listen to the intuition, the voice that wants the best for you, or if you prefer to think of it as God, what he wants for you, the voice that wants the best for you. And now, here's one of the most important. So moving on from the inner critic, I have all these like trainings in my course in the Take Command of Your Mind, Body, and Future, but I'm giving you pretty much the secret sauce right here, if you ask me. But here's one of the most important aspects of forging a resilient mindset and taking command of your mind. Everybody always asks me how you get motivated. How are you always motivated to go on these 10-mile runs and work out at 3 a.m. before work and stay in good shape during the busy work season? And I always say the easy, simple answer is I don't. I'm actually very lazy in nature. I grew up fat. I'm very lazy. Like, let's say the first day of this holiday weekend, I slept until 9 and I didn't get anything done until like noon. I didn't go to the gym until like I think 1 or 2, and I felt like crap. I just felt worthless. I felt lazy, and there's nothing. I did not want to do anything. But finally I got up and went, and I reminded myself, this is who I am and this is what I do. I'm not lazy. But I'm telling you right now, like to my core, I am pretty lazy and I'm never motivated. So you have to understand the people that you see doing things, yes, they can hear their intuition, but they still have that inner critic in there somewhere. It's much quieter, and they've proved to themselves that it's much more worth it to go and do the things that they got to do to move forward than it is to listen to that voice and seek vices and comfort, because they know that makes them feel like crap. So they go do what they got to do. But you got to understand that motivation is not always going to be there. You got to forge discipline. A resilient mindset does not mean, forging a resilient mindset does not mean that you want to go do the things that you got to do to move forward all the time. What it means is that you go do them regardless of how you feel, regardless of how tired you are, regardless of how hungry you are, regardless of how much you want the ice cream, how much you want to skip the workout, whatever it is for you. A resilient mindset, I'll say it one more time, is not wanting to always do it and always being motivated. It is doing it regardless of how you feel in the moment. So that is a very important distinction when it comes to mindset, because people always want to be motivated, and just the unfortunate truth is that you're not always going to be motivated. In fact, I would say you're only going to be motivated like maybe 15% of the time. And that's the same for me. That's probably the same for David Goggins, Cameron Haynes, all these, Jocko, all these guys, but they've made a habit of going regardless of how they feel. So that's a very important distinction. All right, so taking command of your mind. Those are 3 main steps. I kind of touched on habit loops and how your thoughts can kind of wire and rewire. So the next thing would be to start creating belief in yourself by taking action. So there's something that I call the push-pull mechanism. It's like, I call it the push-pull solidify mechanism. So when you start out, the pain of where you're at and the pain of thinking about where you're going to be 6 months from now if you don't make a change, the pain of putting 30 more pounds of fat on, the pain of being more disgusted with who you see in the mirror, the pain of your spouse not wanting to sleep with you because you're so out of shape and you don't even, care about yourself, the pain of having no energy, not being able to play with your kids, whatever it is for you, the pain and disappointment that you get from drinking beer every night because you need an escape from your reality because you're not happy with yourself and your life because of the decisions that you keep making. That pain, I want you to just dwell on that for a minute and think about it. Think about how painful it is and think about where you're going to be 6 months from now if you don't make a change. Now take that pain and freaking light a fire under it and make it push you out of bed tomorrow. Make it push you into action. So that's the push part of the push-pull solidify mechanism. Take the pain, bottle it up, and make it push you into action towards becoming a better version of yourself. Now, 4 weeks from now, 6 weeks from now, when you start doing it, or even it only takes a week really to start feeling this, once you go do the thing, or honestly, if you haven't been doing a lot, it takes one day, one workout, one healthy meal, one day of sticking to the plan without any deviation. Now take that feeling of pride, of happiness, of being proud with yourself for following through with a promise you made to yourself. Take that feeling and make it pull you out of bed. So now you have the pain pushing you because you want to escape the pain. Now you have the feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of pride in yourself because you're able to keep a promise and a commitment to yourself, pulling you towards your goal. Now, after you do it for 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to start seeing results. You're going to look in the mirror and see that you lost some weight. Somebody's going to, your spouse is going to say, hey, you're starting to look good. Your coworkers are going to say, what are you doing? You're looking way better. Now let that solidify it, because the feeling that you get from seeing results in yourself, from seeing progress, is going to solidify you doing what you got to do on a consistent basis to move forward. So that's like my little mental tool that I've always used and that I teach people, because it's very powerful. It's easy to tell people just to go do it. There's no secret. The secret is just to go do it. But I would say that's like the closest thing to like a hack, like a mindset hack that I've ever come up with. So use that, the push-pull solidify mechanism. Use the pain to push you into action. Use the feeling of accomplishment and pride for keeping a promise and commitment to yourself to pull you more into action. And then use the results and the happiness that you're feeling from seeing results and creating results in yourself to solidify that feeling, to keep moving down the path of achieving your goals and becoming somebody that you can be proud of. All right, so I want to wrap this up soon, but there's a couple of things I want to touch on quickly, and I'll make more podcasts about this because I could go so deep into this stuff, like each topic. But next, after you become aware of your thoughts, go to war with the inner critic, use the push-pull solidify mechanism, then you need to start changing your identity. So those things will start building belief in yourself, and you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe achieving something is possible, you're not going to put the work forth towards achieving it, because you're going to have in the back of your mind thinking, what if it's all going to be a waste of time? So you got to build that belief in yourself, but that happens through changing your thoughts, through having more positive self-talk, through going to war and proving the inner critic wrong. And then it's through taking action and seeing results in yourself. So as you're building the belief, then you need to start, you're going to start forging a new identity. And that goes into taking command of your future, deciding who you want to become. I won't go into this right now because I have podcasts already on it, but I'll do more in the future, obviously, because it's another foundational aspect of the Command Project, the mission here with this podcast and, the whole business. But to change your identity, you have to keep doing the things, and you have to, that are going to move you forward. And then you have to decide who you want to become in your life, what the life is that you want to create. And then, envision that person who creates that life, and you start becoming that person by taking the actions that that person takes, which will slowly make you become that person. Because, what you see in the mirror doesn't really change until how you think about yourself. Like there's a good book called Psycho-Cybernetics where, he talks about the self-image, and he was a plastic surgeon, and he did, thousands of surgeries, and a lot of people he'd do surgery on, and they wouldn't see any difference. Like they were completely different, but they didn't see any difference. And they'd say, well, what did you even do? I look the same. But everybody else could see the difference, but they couldn't, because their self-image was so wired in their head, so negatively about themselves, that they couldn't actually see the physical changes that surgery did to them. Well, same thing goes for you. It's not just for surgery. If you have a negative self-image, you won't see the progress that you're making. Other people might see it, but it will take work on your mindset and taking command of your mind and building a new self-image to start seeing the results in yourself. And it all comes down to having a vision for your future, a vision for the person that you're trying to become, and then slowly taking the actions, having the thoughts, putting the knowledge in your mind to move into that new identity, to become that person who creates the life that you want to create for yourself and your family. So that's the basic foundation of taking command of your mind. I think that's all I got for you guys today. I think this is a good episode for episode number 50. Thank you for listening, guys. I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, I think that was a good one. Give me some feedback on this too. And if you guys ever want me to do something, talk about something specifically, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, or drop a comment on YouTube and let me know in the comments of a topic that you'd like me to go over that, has to do with the things that I talk about, that has to do with the Command Project and our mission here. But share this with your friends, family, coworkers, and please also subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to the podcast platform you listen on, because I really want to start growing this. I really want to start getting to, like I said in the beginning in the intro today, the busy, hardworking human beings, beautiful human beings who contribute to the world, who build up and contribute to society and build and maintain this country and this world's infrastructure, because you guys are the ones who really matter. You guys deserve to create lives that you can look forward to. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Let's not just look forward to retirement. Let's not look forward to Friday night. Let's not look forward to having a 6-pack of beer, on Friday with the boys or whatever. Let's unify together and build badass freaking lives for ourselves and our families that we can look forward to. Because without a future life to look forward to, what is the meaning to life? All right, guys, thank you for watching. Again, share this with your friends, family, coworkers. Don't forget to subscribe and share it. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, join me on this mission of becoming the next generation of leaders to make living with integrity badass again. I'm your host, Trent Niebersol, and now it is time to take command.